All right, we are live.
Let's give the folks a second.
Hey, Skywalker. Hey, Lisa. So as you are joining us, we have Jason Wittrock here with us.
Hello.
And it's without an H, which we just discussed.
Sorry, this is
so we're going to be talking to Jason today. I'm going to be switching the camera back and forth a little bit, so we'll do a little intro. So we're talking to Jason, and we've seen his scopes. Mark's watched him for a while now.
I apologize. I'm still in the middle of inviting folks, but yes.
Mark's on like 5 devices over here, pretty much figuring it out. So
do we have another share? There's another share. Awesome.
Thanks for the shares, guys. So yeah, we love his tips. He has a lot of great scopes on fitness and eating right, and so we thought it'd be great to bring him on and have a chat with him and ask him some questions from you guys and some questions that we'll probably ask him. I know Mark's pretty excited.
I am super excited. Okay, did I invite everybody? Sorry, yes, everybody. It's taking me a second here.
So Mark, if you guys don't know, Mark has what we call his boyfriends, and then
I have man crushes. Let's get that right. Yeah. I do. And Jason just happens to be one of them. Ever since I saw him on Periscope. How long has it been now, Jason? About a month or so that you've been on Periscope?
Yeah, it's been about 4 or 5 weeks. So
awesome.
We got in early.
And your following's growing already. If I'm not mistaken, aren't you close to about 1,000 people now?
Yeah, we're getting close to 1,000, slowly but surely. The crew's getting bigger.
So awesome. Well, thanks for being on with us tonight. Hopefully some folks will get in here soon. But yeah, so folks, we just want to let you know, if you have any questions for Jason Wittrock, he's a bodybuilding.com spokesmodel. He's an athlete. He just took all his Periscope followers to was it Boise just about a week ago for the competition?
Yeah, we went to Boise for a bodybuilding.com photo shoot, and then we did the Boise Fit Expo. So we got to take everybody there, and that was a lot of fun.
Very cool. We have a question from JoJo. She says, what's his scope? So, JoJo, he is at Jason Wittrock. It's in the scope title.
So we'll
throw it up here for you, too.
Oh, there we go. Jason
Wittrock.
So that's how you spell it. No H.
Absolutely.
T-T-R-O-C-K.
Yeah.
That's right.
I love your name because it just, like, works for you. I mean,
it's so awesome.
Yeah. It's like you were just happened to be born with the perfect name.
That's great. It's funny because I was always, like, insecure about it because people would always spell it wrong. It's hard. Some people spell using the R's, but I appreciate that. I'll take it.
Absolutely.
Nice.
So can you tell us about your 28 to Great program? What is that all about?
Yeah, okay. So my 28 to Great program, we just launched it through Periscope for free. Essentially what it is it's a way to burn fat and keep building muscle. So what it is a 28-day plan, all right? It's a carb cycling plan. I'm not sure if you're familiar with carb cycling. So it's a 28-day carb cycling plan and a 28-day workout plan for my personal workout. So what we do is we educate people on why you gain fat, what makes you gain weight, kind of dispel a lot of the myths. And then we take you through a carb cycle we alternate between low carbs and high carbs throughout 28 days. And the low carbs, we give instructions and guidelines on what to do, what kind of foods to eat, what foods not to eat, and then the same on high carb days. And it's a really good way to teach people, the proper way to lose weight, which is controlling the hormone called insulin. I won't get into all that unless you want me to, but that's
that's fabulous.
Actually, what the plan is, it's a 28-day carb cycle and training program.
Cool, and so it's interesting because Mark, we've tried a few different things over the years, and recently he's been learning a lot more about like the low carb, high carb. He actually started doing
low carb, high. Yeah. I was on so I'm sure you've heard of the ketogenic diet, which is like low carb. It's pretty similar to what you do, right? So if I understood from your scopes, you do about 50 grams of carbs for 3 days, and then you do about your body weight on the 4th day in carbs, like 160 or so.
Yeah. So we alternate. Usually it's between the 28 days. It's mostly 3 or 4 days low carb, and that's 30 grams or less, all coming from green leafy vegetables, good slow digesting carbs. And we kind of explain in the plan what good slow digesting carbs are and how they're different from bad carbs. And then on the high carb days, we do 1 gram per pound of body weight, but they're coming from good sources of carbohydrates, the slow digesting, the whole grains. You're allowed to have fruit. brown rice, sweet potato, and then we also have one cheat day per week where you can just, after 5 o'clock, you get to have your cheat meal, and then so we just cycle between that for 28 days. So
that is very cool. Now, and I understand. I've been in your scopes, and you do the hearts for abs. I really love that. I think that is so cool.
I haven't done hearts for abs in a while.
I remember that. It was so
Mark's a diehard fan.
I was probably in there just tapping away. Just going, yes, I need those abs.
I'm getting close to 1 million hearts, and I kind of feel like I'm plateauing. Maybe I should start doing the hearts for abs. That was rocking there for a while. I don't know.
There it is. Oh, there it is. Give hearts for Jason's abs.
All right, guys.
You guys need to be following Jason if you want to get abs like that. Now, speaking of abs, we have a special guest with us tonight, Jason.
Yep.
I think it's somebody you know well.
Yep.
And so we'd like to, without further ado, introduce them to you.
Yeah, so
he's following the 28 to Great plan, right?
That's right. He totally is.
We actually had a talk earlier today. We had a talk with Jason's abs. So we interviewed Jason's abs. And we're going to play that interview for you right now. He's a pretty friendly guy, Jason's abs. So
Jason's abs. There you are. All right.
He's a softie.
Yeah, he is. He's a good one.
All right, let's see what he has to say. Hi, Jason's abs.
Hey, everybody, and thanks for watching Jason and I on Influence Buzz. My name is Jason Wittrock's abs. I am Wittrock Hard, and you can get awesome abs like me if you follow Jason Wittrock on Periscope and Twitter. Jason's going to teach you about the right dieting tips and exercise tools to help get you lean and fit, and you should totally check us out as we help folks around the world get in the best shape of their lives. Thanks for watching.
Nice. Nice, Jason's abs.
It was so great to see that.
I'm sure that was like an exclusive, right? The first time ever that your abs have been interviewed.
Without even knowing it.
The sponsors are going to want you to send that to them so they can use it too.
We'll totally send that to you. That's awesome.
We found an app and we just couldn't help ourselves.
So do you have any tips for folks who are struggling with you mentioned insulin earlier. I know me personally, I have quite a sweet tooth. I was doing the ketogenic diet for a while. I think once you've stayed away from, bad carbs for a while, it's easier to stay the course, and eat the right foods. But have you ever helped folks who've struggled with sugar or anything like that?
Well, I think the big fight, the big kind of goal that I'm trying to do is teach people that, it's possible for you to lose weight. You have the determination, okay? If you have a strong enough why, it's just a lot of people have the wrong strategy. They undereat. Unfortunately, they think it's a calories in versus calories out thing, and it's simply not the truth. The truth is that all fat is regulated by the hormone called insulin, like you say. And so there's certain foods, carbohydrates in particular, that raise your blood sugar and blood glucose levels and cause your body to secrete insulin. You see, insulin takes glucose and shoves it inside fat cells. It literally puts your body in fat storage mode. So anytime you have insulin in your bloodstream, your body's always storing fat. And at the same time, it's preventing fat from leaving the cell, no matter how many calories you have, no matter how much you work out. So the idea is if you want to master weight loss, if you want to start losing weight, you must control the secretion of insulin, and the only way to do that is to take out the carbs. So that's why we cycle the carbs, because carbs are like drugs. You've lived on carbs your whole life. They actually hit the same part of your brain as cocaine and a lot of other drugs called the reward center. So when you take them out, the body says, man, we've been running on carbs forever. We want our carbs back. And so that's why we have the high carb days. But once you burn off all the carbs in your body will start switching to burning fat. Okay, It won't burn fat unless you burned off carbs first, because it always wants to burn that quick energy. So I think in general, the biggest culprit is liquid carbohydrates. There's different carbs. Certain carbs are good depending on how high they raise your blood glucose level and how fast they digest in your body. An example of a bad carb is liquid carbs, like fruit juice and soda and wine, Gatorade, Powerades, iced tea, and they're particularly bad because when they get into your stomach, they don't have to be broken down at all. So they cause your blood glucose levels to shoot through the roof, and it just floods your bloodstream with glucose, right? Yeah. So the body has to get all that glucose out immediately, so it secretes a lot of insulin. It just floods your bloodstream with insulin. And then you're storing fat for the next 4 or 5 hours, no matter what you do. Also, refined grains, bread, cereals, pasta, bagels, things like that also cause your body to secrete a lot of insulin. Starches are particularly bad. Corn, peas, baked potatoes, actually one of the worst carbohydrates you can eat.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And then of course your sugar, your table sugar and stuff.
Yeah.
But I think like you said, it's low carb, and anytime you lower your carbs, fat has been vilified.
Yeah.
Okay. So everybody's taught that fat makes you fat, when it's really the opposite. Carbs make you fat, and healthy fats like almonds and cheese and avocado and cottage cheese are actually good for you. They don't raise your blood glucose levels and cause your body to secrete a ton of insulin. So I would suggest eating more proteins, more fats, and lower the carbs. That's the trick to losing weight. It's not about you being a glutton and eating too much food, or the fact that you don't exercise enough.
Absolutely.
It has everything to do with how your body is secreting insulin and reversing that.
Is there ever a time when you're eating maybe more fruits, or that you do you always carb cycle, like 3 days low?
Yes, yeah, correct. I always carb cycle. So even when I go to a photo shoot, I'll carb cycle. The problem with cutting carbs out completely is that carbs are stored in your body as glycogen, and so it's very hard to get good energized workouts, to build a lot of muscle, to maintain good energy. When you're, like you said before, ketogenic is basically when you're out of carbs completely for a long period of time, and you burn what are called ketones or fat. So I hover around there, and I have strategic high carb days. It's like going to the gas station. So you go low carb, and then all of a sudden you go to the gas station and you eat things like fruit and whole grains and oatmeal and those carbs. And then when you eat those food, it goes to filling up the muscle glycogen instead of the fat. Does that make sense? So we avoid fruit on low carb days. That's another big thing. I'm glad you brought up fruit. Everybody always asks, why fruit? Why not fruit? Why not fruit? See, because people are kind of trained to think that I'm just going to undereat and I'm going to count my calories, and it's all about how much I eat. So then they eat a bunch of fruit. Anybody that goes on a diet that's just counting calories, the very first thing they do is say, I'm going to eat healthy and I'm going to go eat fruit.
Yeah.
They eat copious amounts of fruit. And guess what? You can eat 500 grams or 500 calories of bananas, but your blood sugar and your insulin levels are going to be so damn high that you are going to literally store fat forever. An interesting study actually came out that I'll share with you guys.
Yeah.
So in the late 30s or 40s, they went and studied Indian reservations, okay? And these populations were extremely poor, very, very, very poor. But they noticed that there were obese people still. These people were living on like 600 calories a day, okay? And they were noticing that there were still obese people, particularly women. And so they wanted to know how these people became obese living on 600 calories. And the reason is because the United States was subsidizing them and giving them food. Well, guess what the foods were? Cheap carbohydrates, breads, cereals, every rice, every cheap grain they could possibly feed them. So although they were having 600 grams of carbs, they were becoming insulin resistant and they got fat.
That's amazing. And just 600 grams of calories, or 600 calories a day. I can't believe that.
So the point is, don't count calories, count your carbs.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So do you have a certain maybe calorie goal you shoot for, or is it just shooting for a certain fat, gram of fat per day and grams of protein per day?
I like to keep it simple and focus on the most important macronutrient, and that is carbohydrates. Like I said, if you want to lose weight, the only way you're going to do it is by restricting carbs some way or another. You can cut them out completely. You can shoot for a goal a day, or you can cycle them like me in the 28 to Great plan, okay? Kind of give and take them. But either way, you must control your carbohydrate intake if you want to lose weight. So I only track carbs.
Okay.
On my low carb days, I eat unlimited fats and unlimited protein. And then I just focus on the carbs. People get caught up too much in like
calories,
tracking calories and tracking all this stuff. Just narrow your focus and focus on the carbohydrates, because they have the biggest impact on your hormones.
That makes sense. You know, I have this really great acronym I'll share with you that an acupuncturist of ours told us about, and I think you'll appreciate it because it's about fats. She said if you take the word bacon, you take the 5 letters of the word bacon, so you have B, you have some grass-fed butter every day. You take the A, have an avocado every day. You take the C, you have some coconut oil or coconut butter every day. The O stands for olive oil. And then the N is for nuts. I think maybe that would be a great,
I'm stealing that from you, bro.
Yeah.
That's perfect. It's funny because people are deathly afraid of eating bacon.
Yeah.
it's like, are you sure I can eat bacon? Are you sure I'm not going to get fat by eating bacon? It's like, yes. And the reason you can eat bacon, but you can't eat cereal in the morning, unfortunately. But so it's our whole lives we've kind of just been taught that fat makes you fat, and more studies are coming out that shows that the cholesterol and stuff's just a big myth, and that carbs. I train kids with mental illness, and they all take a medicine that makes them gain a lot of weight. And so I go in there and we put them on a carb-restricted diet because it's the only way to lose the weight. And these kids are dealing with high triglycerides. I mean, carbohydrates cause enormous amounts of inflammation in the body, high triglycerides, high cholesterol. They lead to heart attacks and all that stuff. So,
gotcha.
Changing gears a little on, coming back to Periscope since we're broadcasting this, what are some things that you found with Periscope? I mean, you've been on it a few weeks now. What are some tips you have for people who are just joining on, who are new to the community, and also for broadcasters? What would you say to them?
So Periscope, in my opinion, is the most powerful tool in social media ever, in my opinion, because I can have face-to-face interaction with you. I can field your questions. I can motivate you in the moment. I can teach you in the moment. I can reach you in the moment. And there's just nothing more powerful than that. And I think, and I've been able to use it. 150 people downloaded 28 to Great for free. And now I'm able to interact with those 150 people on a daily basis. And we're literally all in it together. It's like a tight-knit community. And so if you have a lot of positive things to share, now if you just have nothing to share and nothing to contribute, you won't be on Periscope very long.
Right.
But if you're trying to do good for other people like you guys and me, then Periscope's a very valuable tool for sharing, what you have. I've been able to get a lot of my bodybuilding.com employees and athletes on it, and so they're out sharing as much information as possible. So I have a lot of high hopes for it. My training partner, Coy Wire, who's a CNN anchor, he uses Periscope all the time behind the scenes. I like seeing a lot of that stuff too. So
I've seen them. Yeah, I've gone into their scopes and I said, "Do you guys know Wittrock, Jason Wittrock?" Like, yeah, Wittrock, we love that guy. Yeah, it's so great seeing your name's getting out there. And I've heard you mention that it's so much better than YouTube because there's just no stress in editing or anything. You're here impromptu, engaging.
That's the number one thing I get. Okay, I was late to the YouTube thing, and it was like a full-time job. And and all my fitness, just in the fitness industry, everybody goes to YouTube, and you don't want to jump into that. It's I'd rather just reach you one-on-one right now and skip all the editing and all the acting and all that stuff. And you're going to get me 100%
and it's interesting
real.
Because, I feel like we're so early, we're so early to this trend that it's not like live streaming is new, but live streaming on mobile, I think, is what really made this.
Kurt Elliott said he did 60 dips today.
Nice, Kurt.
I said, well done, to keep up the good work.
Well done, Kurt.
Well done. But it's so early. I think it's one of those things where YouTube is now. We'll look back a few years from now and say, okay, that was where Periscope was and live streaming was on mobile, and now we're so much more ahead of that.
Yeah, you'll be ahead of the game.
Exactly. And can you just imagine if you were one of the first people to ever do Instagram? Most people are like, oh, Instagram, it's stupid. You could also share stories or share pictures on Facebook too.
Yeah.
So and I really, what I mean? And I'm sure they said the same thing about YouTube, but as long as the good content keeps the people that keep contributing good content, I'll tell you what was the best thing for Periscope was the Manny Pacquiao fight and the
I remember that.
That was a big deal. I think a lot of people heard about it at that point.
And Hillary Clinton joined Periscope, and I think with the political presidential stuff coming up, they're going to be able to realize, those politicians are going to realize, this is the best way for me to get in touch with people, and we're going to do it. So I think, and it seems like, Twitter bought them, so, they got some good people directing the company, which is good.
Absolutely. And, to what you said about the fight, it was funny because one of my coworkers today said, hey, look at this. I saw this article you can appreciate, Mark. It says, people will be allowed to bring their cell phones to the U.S. Open or whatever golfing events coming up.
What's interesting is that it seems like sports figures especially are kind of scared of it because they're like, wait, we can't control the content.
Yeah.
And so, so that's kind of, it's interesting because I think some industries are going to embrace it, some industries are not going to embrace it. And then then it's going to be like, oh, well, you're getting left out because everyone else is embracing it.
Well, and what they said in the article was that you can bring your phone, but you can't Periscope, which was so funny that they called it out in the title. It was on like US News.
Hey, that's the best advertising ever for Periscope.
I know, people are just going to do it now.
People are going to have a hard time fighting it. And, I understand, image is everything, and if you go live, you can't take it back. Like on YouTube, I just don't have to upload the video.
Right.
But you better really come prepared with the message. You better, you got to be clean on Periscope, because one bad Periscope and everything crumbles down.
Right.
So.
Yeah. And that's, yeah.
And then you see in the entertainment industry, you've got I don't want to say D-listers, but you got Tom Green and Andy Dick who are like, I don't care.
Yeah.
I'm just going to, take full advantage of it.
That's right.
So.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I think
So
that's
cool.
scary, especially to people who are, celebrities, and then their publicist or whatever can't really control the channel, and that's very scary.
That's a good point, too.
Yes, I've been in PR, and it's one of those things where you're like, oh my gosh, that's frightening,
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like when we look at all these new technologies, it's scary for companies and brands and anyone to get involved, but you have to embrace it at a certain point when it becomes gains critical mass,
Totally.
Absolutely. And there's just so much potential to reach people and market your products and show people the benefits of what you're doing. I saw Target started scoping once. I mean, it's just slow and steady going to take over for sure.
Yeah. Cool. Well, we loved having you on here.
Tell the folks where we can find you. I got you on Twitter and Instagram. Obviously, Periscope.
You can go to my website. JasonWittrock.com is the best way to find me. Instagram. I share a lot of stuff on Instagram. So.
Cool. And Kurt just said, Wittrock for Prez. Is that going to happen?
He said you're going to run for
You're going to run for president?
I'm probably more likely to train the president.
There you go.
That's still cool. That's cool.
awesome.
Yeah. So yeah, we're gonna put your name here.
Yeah, once
so
again, we're going to show the folks.
Here is where you can find him at Jason Wittrock.
On Twitter. Is it the same on Instagram as well? At
Yes.
Jason Wittrock?
Yeah, there's a period in between Jason Wittrock, but it's
Jason.Wittrock. Okay,
Hey, knockers, how's it
perfect.
going? Cool.
Well,
Thanks for joining us, everyone.
Yes,
Thank
thanks
you,
everybody for
Jason.
coming. Hey, Laura's here. Well, yeah, we really had a great time. If you guys missed it, please check out the replay. We just interviewed the amazing Jason Wittrock. He's here on Periscope. He's on Twitter at Jason Wittrock and on Instagram at Jason.Wittrock. If you need any help spelling his name, it's right in the title of the scope. So just make sure you're following us, and please follow him and check out his awesome scopes about health and fitness. He'll help you get, in 28 days, you'll be great.
28 to great.
Great. You both are doing great things, so I appreciate it.
Thanks,
Cool.
Jason.
Thanks,
It was really
Jason.
awesome having you. And we're going to say goodbye to
All right.
the folks. And guys, you have a great night. Thanks for
Good night,
coming.
guys.
Thanks, everybody.